And just grab this, put it into Discord for the recording. There. Good. So welcome. Oh, gosh. Welcome. My name is Brian Knight, and I live near Melbourne in Australia. And it's just turned 5:30 in the morning. It's 5:33 actually on a Tuesday for me. And let's just share this screen to start with. It's just a welcome to the analysis session and disclaimer and a risk disclosure. Welcome, Jay, Paul, Darren, and Grace. Good to see you. Well, it's nice that you're here anyway. Right, so just a little bit about us and us as live traders and a little bit about our risk. Right, now let's stop sharing there. And so for your information, yes, a GBP CHF and a USD CHF, I did take those two trades and they did have pulled back so far. What we might do, hang on a minute, let's have a look. Anyway, hang on, I'll just share screen just so that you know. This is my C trader currently. So there's that USD CHF and that they're in a drawdown. Yeah. And these couple that I took at the end of last week are in drawdown as well. Yeah, and that CAD J is, but everything else is still, like, we've had a bit of a pullback on a few, but that's okay. They're not completely stop losses and tight stop losses, and they're still potentially on the dailies to go in the correct direction. Or sorry, not correct, but in the direction that I have planned that they would be going. Okay, so let's just change the screen. Any questions at the moment? Darren's in his car somewhere. John, anything? Not at the moment. Okay. Share screen across onto. So last time I saw these were around about 9 o'clock last night, my time. So I've been sleeping till now. So yeah, there was some pullbacks in New York time. This is the GBP CHF. So the reason why I got into them yesterday, and you got to know the reasons why people do what they do. Come back here. That's probably easier. Just give you this. This had been for quite a few days bouncing around outside, in this sort of a box that I'd put on. This is on a 3-hour. And I think Darren was there session yesterday, and I'd said this had broken down. It had come out of the box and it had broken structure, right, over to the left here. And it was more likely pull up. Yes, there'd be a pullback, right? So as market opened, it went into buy, it went into a sell and back into a buy. And after that sell, that buy, I thought, oh, well, look, let's give it a bit of a go for potentially. I knew it could do a bit more of a pullback, and that's okay. I think if I look, where is my stop loss? Hang on a minute. Stop loss is, it's back down here somewhere, I think, down at the bottom of these. Yes, it is. Down there, or Yeah, actually, it's at the bottom of this. That one push down there, I've got stop losses down here. So considerable stop loss, but it's like I was, if it had done a stop hunt back down here, it would be less likely to break this low for us to go up. So yes, it pushed down, then went back up, then pushed down, went back up, and it's sort of just going a little sideways. I'm waiting for a breakout for the rest of this week. Maybe, we'll see. Because if I look on the daily, you can see that big push down, this sideways. It's more likely to come back. And if you look, we look further into these lows here, that low, it seems to have broken away. So it's more likely potentially that it will break the high up over here. Yeah, and what I might do, I'm not saying it will, that's just what I'm looking at. Could even break further up. I'm going to make that one. No, that's not it. Let's make that one a sort of yellow. So what you see here on the 3 hour is potentially a move. Now, if it doesn't and it goes down here and knocks out the stop loss, so what? I got a 0.01, but that's like nearly 300 pips on that. And this could take ages before it does that, but we'll see. So that's what I'm looking at on this one. And you got to take a bit of a beating on drawdown before potentially. Did anybody look at these or take any of these trade? These two, I think we spoke about yesterday. Okay. And a similar thing happened, USD CHF as well. Again, it did that sort of market start of the week, pull back down. Same thing, it's come out of that box and it created a new high. Still on a pullback. As long as it's not going to sort of break too much down here, then push back up again. Well, that's my forecast as such. So, you're back home, Darren. Oh, out of the car, yeah. into the office. Gosh.
Yeah. Didn't want to miss the start there, but back at my desk now.
No. Right, Darren. Remember, this is relaxed trading, not race from the car to the computer. So that's where I'm at with those two.
Sorry, did you say you're in this now, USD Swiss?
Yeah, I'm in both of these trades. Yeah, in drawdown on both of them, and that's from my opinion, that's okay.
Yeah,
we'll just see if it is a swing.
Yeah, I was waiting for that pull. So you're in for the buy then. I was waiting for the pullback and then.
Correct. Yeah, well, I was looking at this as a little pullback up here. You know, that's all I get to see until, like, it did that at London Open, and then all of this I've been asleep. So I don't get to see that. But you can see where at New York Open, it pulled back up again, nearly to my entry, and then came back down. So, it just depends. You're in drawdown, then you're in nearly break even, then draw down again. It's just like, that's what happens with this strategy anyway.
So stop loss is down at the bottom there, then, is it? Under the
down here somewhere, or down here. I can't remember where. What's this one? This is USD CHF. That is, where is that one? My stop losses are down. My stop loss is down here somewhere, I think. Like 1, 2. They're sort of like the two pullbacks down. Yeah, I haven't gone all the way down here.
Yeah, that
I could have, but but basically to, I'm sort of down here somewhere. So if it breaks that, it could come further back down. So, you know, I'd be monitoring this. That's okay. Not sort of too worried about it. But probably, well, I won't move my stop loss anyway from here. Whatever it is, it is. But on the daily, you're still seeing a drop, pullback, drop. This big drop here, it's been pulling back for a while. So I could see it taking out some of this imbalance or more of the imbalance potentially. That's a big drop there. Even though this is in a sell trend overall on the daily, you can see it is a sell. But I've taken the buy as a, what would you call it, as an intermediate sort of trade before I look at when this will, and it might just stop me at it to a point to then get into a sell. Maybe not at this, maybe at another point. But there's definitely a long over here on the daily. This has got potentially some more to push back up here, take out imbalance before it could drop back down. It may not. So that's USD CHF, and the other one was the GBP CHF. Yeah, same big drop there. It's gone through consolidation. It's more likely to pull back up to this area here. And it hasn't broken the low down here. So it's more, you know, these lows. So this is a higher low. So it's more likely potentially to break that high or move in that range, whatever. As long as I get some profit out of it, I'm not too concerned. So, any questions, Jay or Paul or John or Grace?
I don't have it.
Go ahead, Grace.
I'm just trying to follow what y'all are doing.
Yeah, okay, no worries. Okay.
Both these trades, but I'm curious, like, are you getting in as soon as this turns, in this example, when it turns red for the pullback, or would it be prudent to wait until it turns green again? Like it's crossed.
Correct. Yeah, but yes, correct. But when I saw it, Jay, it was still on the green and it had done a pullback before and it was starting to push back up. Just depends on where I get to see it. You may not, I don't know where you are in US, Jay, but you may not have seen this at the open of London. You may have seen New York. So it just depends on your decision of where you get in. For me, you know, I saw the Asian session push up when market opened. I saw it pull back down again, right? And then I saw it pushing back up. So we still got, and I didn't wait for the next candle. It's just where I was in at the time of taking the trade. Normally, you know, what I wait for is for the pullback, but I felt that potentially this was the pullback for it to continue. You don't know. Like, so if you look over here.
Yeah, some of the pullbacks don't turn.
Sorry?
Some of the pullbacks don't actually turn red.
They won't. No. Well, let me show you. Hang on, I'll go back here. So if I turn off, if I just turn off that trend bar, you'll see that's actually a sell candle. Because the trend bar actually changes the color. So what the trend bar thing does is, if it's green and it has an outline with like a blue wick and outline, then it's a buy. See how these ones have got a red outline or red wick? I don't know if you can see it or not. So that means they're a sell, all right? Then that's a sell, but that's a buy. Then that's a sell, that's a buy, that's a sell. Standard candles. But for me, like that was early, and this is like 12 hours or so after the market opened. So normally I don't take a trade before that, but I did at this point, and then it went into sell. And that's okay. Like it hasn't broken this previous, like the engulfing push up here. It's come down and then decided to push back, then down, up. You know, it's just, it's not, how do I put this? It hasn't decided to go push, 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 push and break structure a number of, you know, if it broke there, and then broke down there, it's like, wow, okay, we're into the sell. But at the moment, it's just wandering around in this area and not broken this. It's broken that at the start, but I'm not sort of too concerned. It's if it breaks this down here with a full body, that's more of a, not a concern, but more like, okay, this is potentially continuing to sell. But the point is, I'm looking over here at the daily going, well, you know, that's more likely to keep.
It's like your candle.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, I was just noticing like your candles and my candles are really different.
As in how the candles look?
Yeah, yeah, like that.
Okay.
That big bearish candle right in the middle, or bullish candle. Right in the
Yeah,
middle.
yeah, yeah.
To the left of that.
Oh, yeah.
Mine never even gets to the trend line. Let me see if I can.
Right. What broker are you on?
Mine stops right here.
Yeah. What broker are you on?
Well, my trading view data feed is Alonda.
Awanda?
Yeah.
Yeah, Awanda is very different. Pepperstone is what my broker, so I tend to go by the price feed for that. Awanda will always be different to, I think the feed will be different to nearly every other a broker. But yeah, this
candle is red.
That's
this whole candle.
That candle's red. Yeah. And it probably could be as well, Jay. See how it actually is a sell. This is the end of last week.
Yeah.
So that if I turn off the trend bar, that is a red candle. Have you not got, so if you on trend bar, have you got the style, have you got the bar color ticked?
Yeah.
And have you got the opacity up?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it should.
Everything looks the same. It's just the candles are not always the same. So.
And you're on British pound and Swiss franc.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm just checking. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries. No.
It's just I'd say it's the feed, Jay. Just the feed. Under feed compared to my feed. Other people might have FMC. FMC. That'll be. It's close to Pepperstone. It's just I like to keep it on the broker that I use. So, and then and you're right. There may be then different decisions that you make to get into trades based on what the feed is and what broker that you may use. Ultimately, though, it's still about the direction. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's price at the moment then on the 3 hour for you?
1.12067.
Yeah, it's just slightly different. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's about a pip difference. Yeah. So yeah, that's just a feed difference. But I've over like the 6+ years I've been here, I've noticed right even in the early days, Awanda was a very different feed to anything that I was trading with. So
I've tried a lot of different feeds, but ultimately you have to go with what's on your broker chart anyway.
correct, because that's what you're gonna be charged, or what you're gonna enter and exit at anyway. So so that's where I'm at with these. It tends to be just sort of playing around sideways. We're now at the end of New York. So it tends to do this sort of like change of direction, little play around. We'll see what happens when it goes over into Sydney, and then because the spreads will go crazy, and then when about it's 10 a.m. for me, so it's about 3 hours after changeover, that's when Tokyo opens. So somewhere around there, we'll probably get a kick either up or down on this one, and then come back to London Open. This is really early. This is just the first day of trading, like for the week. And I suppose if you come from that sort of like scalping or daily trade stuff, you go like, oh, I should have got out of this one. It's like, but for me, I'm looking at this for more of a long term till the end of this week, or even into next week, and to the, like for the next month. That's where I'm looking at these sorts of trades. Yeah. So, John, did you want to have any questions or comments or?
No, I'm just kind of trying to get caught back up. I haven't been on one of your sessions for a couple of weeks now. I know that you were actually changing the strategy quite a bit there for a while, between you and Tom. And so I was curious where you're at now with it.
Well, it hasn't really changed that much. We're looking at Tom uses weekly. I just use a daily down to a 3 hour. Simple as that, right? And then all I do is I look for what the trend is and looking for continuation of that trend. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In relation to whatever the market structure may be to the left. And then I'll look for entries at the point of that trend. So I can, the way I see this is this trend will continue, if not break the top here, potentially on this pair. This is GBP-CHF. I think it was yesterday's session, which was pre-market open. I saw that at the end of the week, so it had pushed up, played around a bit, pushed up at the end of last week, and then when market opened, it pushed back up again. All I was waiting for is a pullback. I didn't expect it necessarily to do that, but hey, expectations and what happens are two different things. It pulled back this much and then pushed back up and down and up. And so, as I said before, I'm just looking for it potentially not to break this low here and to continue up. All right. My stop loss is, back down here somewhere. I can't remember. What did I say? 1, 2. I think it's down here somewhere, right? And it's just a 0.01 on the account. Like I'm still up, 28% or something on the account over a number of weeks. I mean, it was up like 35%, but I've taken some extra trades, which have got me in some drawdown, which has brought back that. But what I'm waiting for is for them to pull back up and, or down or whatever, whether they're buys or sells, and come back into some profits on them. Now the trend bar setting is pretty easy. It's all it is it's set at number 7 at this point. We could do a number of trend bars, but like if you just follow the daily down to 3 hour, that's really all you need, and then have the color bars so that it changes them if you can handle that. If you can't, then you can always turn that bar color off if you want. You can see it changes the color back to standard sort of colors, keeping the trend bar in there. So that's how simple this is. And then all you're doing is as the trend continues, all you're doing is you're looking and putting additional trades on at every significant pullback. You wait for the pullback to finish and start off going off again, and then get into another trade.
What do you do for lot sizes? I mean, you do 1% of your account, or? Yeah,
you can do a quarter, half, whatever you want. I've just made my life really simple in all of this. I've been taking it's just a $1,000 account. So all I take is a 0.01. I don't even know if that's a quarter. If you go here, for example, let's have a look. GBP. Whoop, up here. GBP CHF. Look, and mine's in Aussie dollars. Account size, let's just say it's 1,000, for example. I want to only run a risk 0.25. Oh, get out of there.
You can only do one and then you have to do the math, I think.
No, you put a 0. And then I can't remember what the stop loss is about. It's about 100, something like that. So, you know, you got 0 lots, so you can't take a trade even at that. So basically I'm even below 0.25% on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've got a trade manager I use, calculates it all for me, but yeah, you're right. That's pretty simple. That's kind of what I was doing before I stopped using that.
Well, you know, yeah, you can calculate your 0.25 if you want it. Like for me, it was just about real simplicity. I wanted to see whether this would work if anybody just did 0.01, right? Or whatever, just so you didn't have to calculate money management, because sometimes when people start doing this, it's like, what the hell have I got to do? Well, have I got to calculate? I've helped a few people in the past, and, you know, money management, part of it is a difficult thing for people to comprehend. Particularly, it's like, oh, I want to get in this trade, you know, and they're on a 5-minute chart. And then, like, by the time they calculate what their lot size is based upon their stop loss, the thing's moved so far that, you know, their calculation is totally sort of way off then. So this is just really a simplicity. I mean, on the 3 hour, it doesn't matter so much because you got plenty of time to.
Yeah, I noticed the hole is not up there anymore. Is that something you quit using, or you just have it?
Yeah, turn on. Yeah, you can have it turned on if you want to. I just found it to a certain extent
Redundant.
Well, just an extra, like, you know, that changed. Like, well, why do I need that?
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like an extra that, like, I could have quite easily, like, if I looked at this, you know, like after London opened that, and I could go like, oh, that turned red. Oh, I'm going to get out of the trade. It's like, well, why do I need to? On the daily, I'm still seeing this. I just got to swallow a little bit of drawdown before potentially it breaks the high up here. If it doesn't, it comes down here like it's 0.01. So what?
For sure.
Yeah. Maybe this is like different thinking. So for example, like, you know, AUD CAD, if we go up there, like I'm in, how many am I in there? I think I'm in 3. AUD CAD. No, I'm only in 2 trades there. That's okay. I got knocked out of 1. So, like, for example, where is it? Here. I'm in the trade from up here. I'm in that trade still, and I'm in a second trade there. But at the moment, it's just going sideways, right? Up, down, like it's, yeah.
Yep.
So that's why I'm in drawdown of this one. But what I'm seeing overall is there's still, you know, a sellout on the daily. So I'm not getting out. I've just got this, and then I could do this on it. That's what I'm really looking to see, whether it breaks out up the top or down the bottom of this. That's all I'm really using, like boxes and, yeah, pretty simple stuff. But, you know, they're basically 2. So I had a 1 trade, I'm still in, you know, I don't know, what is it? AD CAD, like 280 pips on that one. And then this one, I'm in a bit of drawdown. Like, so what? I'm pretty sure, where's my stop loss on that one now? Yeah, my stop loss is back down here somewhere. I think it's back down at this point now. Yeah, because I've got, it's probably down, and we'll have a look over here. Yeah, that's roughly where it is now. So I sort of got two sort of pullbacks away from where price is. So if this comes back, it's still like, how much is that? 0.01 is probably not lots, but percentage, but that's like 210 pips. Still, if it does, and then you would lose whatever you got here. I think my stop loss for this one is up here because I've got 1, 2 range there. I could pull this down further, but I'm not worried at the moment. Yeah, does that make sense, John?
Yeah, I've got all that. Sounds pretty much
That's the
similar to what
overview,
you're
pretty
doing
easy.
before,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not that different. Yeah. So, Paul, have you got any questions or feedback or?
No, I'm not, Brian.
No, you okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Have you been taking some of these trades or?
No, I'm just following you, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. That's okay.
I will be.
Now, I'm not saying you take any of these trades. It's not it's like with Darren. Darren's got some different trades that I have, right? So he saw different things at the time. So, like, what am I in now? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm in 18 trades currently, and there's a few of them that I'm in double or triple trades. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like
And
that.
sorry.
I like that idea of getting in when you're following a trend to get in on more than one occasion.
Yeah. Look, I like it to break structure on that. So to create a swing high or a swing low and sort of to break structure back out to then pull up. Like you're still looking at the structure of the market and how it actually behaves. You're not disregarding any of that. It just means that you have plenty of time to make decisions to get into trades or out of trades. And I think it's one of the things I've spoken with Darren and others about is when trends are on, when something is trending, the motivation for it to continue to trend is there because it creates profits for whoever's in that trend. Yeah. And they're more likely to push that trend further and further. Yes, there'll be pullbacks, right? Because of smaller players pulling out, and then you get, either buys or sells opposite to the actual trend. But then it continues because the people with, or the institutions with all of the money want it to continue in that trend. Yeah, until it just absolutely peters out. And then that gives you that sort of sign of when it's going to peter out and then change direction again. But I just like this sort of daily to the 3 hour. It just is really simple back and forward to, is the daily continuing? Yeah. Is it petering out? Maybe. But, the motivation for it to continue is more likely to be there because profits. In the end, it will create a swing low and it will go back into a buy. The thing about it is AUD and NZD are both on the ropes.
Yeah.
Against lots of currencies. They're both weakened and they're not likely at any point significantly to strengthen. So again, keeping some of that in the back of my mind. Euro, USD, CAD, they're all sort of like strengthening against other currencies. So it's just like longer term stuff. Yeah.
Mm.
So anyway, that's how I sort of play down the field, and it's I suppose it's just when you've been around trading for a period of time, you develop some of these understandings. That's all.
I certainly prefer this way of doing it than scalping.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
yeah. I think for me, and I've said this plenty of times, I want the trading to fit my lifestyle, not my lifestyle to fit my trading. It just does. I tried for a long time to get my lifestyle to work into trading, and I can't make it work for whatever reasons. Life just gets in the way. But my lifestyle, for the ability to be able to come and look at the charts 3, 4, 5 times a day, is pretty easy, and so that's all I need to do. It just means that they're longer term trades. Yeah. Welcome, Otto. Good to see you. Early for you too. Okay. So yeah, that's how I tend to look at it. The CAD-J, it may be running out of steam, but that's okay. If it pushes back up and stops me out on that, that's fine. We can get in then into the buy on the buy trend, because this could be a swing low down here. We don't know. But if it comes back down and breaks this low, then it's continuing to sell. Well, that's not hard to understand. AUDCHF, look at this, down, 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 down on the daily. I can't see this changing at the moment. Like, so if you're in an AUDCHF, which I am, where is it? AUDCHF. This did pull back up and then it started selling out again. Right? So you wouldn't get into buys on this. I think I'm in a couple of sells on it. But it's yes, I am. I'm in one in a bit of drawdown and this one, and this one in profit. So I'm just watching this continue down, and then as it gets further down, these will be well in profit. That's all I need to do. And if it doesn't break the low and it starts moving its way back up, which is probably unlikely to do because the Swiss franc's a lot stronger than what the Aussie dollar is, it just stops me having to guess it. That's all. AUD JPY. JPY is still pretty weak, right? So that's why you get these pushes for the Aussie dollar back up. But I think also too it'll push back down again. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not in this. I'm not AUD. Don't trade AUD, NZD. They're too much, close to each other. You get these really radical moves. Singapore, not in this at the moment. No, but like this also too has created a swing low. It's whether it breaks this structure up here, but continue down. See how it's still in the daily, it's still on a sell. I'm not taking any buys on it. AUD USD, again, sell on the daily. It's just doing the sideways. Yeah. In a number of trades for this. Like I'm in a trade from up there somewhere, and then I'm in another trade there, and I'm in another trade there, which I'm in slightly in drawdown at the moment.
Brian?
Yeah.
Go to your daily chart on this pair.
Yeah.
And I know because you taught smart money, and this is if you zoom out a little bit, you'll see we're in an order block.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
You take that in consideration, or are you just literally trying to put blinders on and not see that and just go with that red trend that we're selling?
That's an interesting question, Jay. It's really difficult from what you've learned in the past to actually go against something that you see. Like I do see that, Jay, absolutely. I'll try and explain. What Jay's saying here is because it's actually pushed down to this point, this is going to create a swing low before it won't break this low. It's pulled back into there and potentially see where it's come down to that point. And at some point here, it's likely to push back up again, right? We had a considerable push down. It's going to push back up. Huh? Now that's really nice. And yes, I'm going to be, the word probably would be cautious. Yet I am not, I'm not also blind to what's occurring.
Okay.
So to say that I disregard it is probably not correct, Jay. It's just that I'm just, so what, because the daily is the bit that, if I come back over here, the daily is like, sure, that's pulled up a bit here, right, in the last couple of days, right, the end of last week and the start of this. So these are actually buy candles. If I turn that off, you can see they're actually buys. So it's pulled up and then it pulled up, but it didn't break. If you see, it didn't break the high of the end of the week so far, right? See those two candles just there. So that's the last day of last week trading. This is the first day of this week trading. So the last day, what happens? It pushed down and down. It came across. It pushed up. It pushed down. It came back, and that's all it ended up with. Then it went across. At the start of the trading week, it pushed up, but then pushed back down, and it ended up here. Now, it hasn't come up to the high and hasn't broken the wick to the left of last week. So I'm just looking at this going, yeah, this is a pullback, but hey, it hasn't broken that, as in a break of structure in a daily perspective. So I'm not too concerned at the moment. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Or not?
It's the same thing I'm doing. I'm trying to rely on the strategy, which is the indicator we're using, not my smart money knowledge. But at the same time, I may, as it comes into this area, I may be less aggressive placing more sells until I see that it's through that area, or maybe I'll be more aggressive with my stop loss in this area.
Yeah.
But I'm still not buying because I'm in this order block. I'm still following
Correct.
the trend indicator until it proves me wrong.
Jay, perfectly explained, Jay, perfectly. That's exactly the elements that I'd look at. I'm cautious at this point. And yes, I may have tighter stop losses, or yes, I may not take another trade at this, right? Because I need to see what it does on that 3-hour breaker structure. So if I come back over here now, I go, that's in a block, it's consolidating. What they're doing is they're trying to suck us in. It did it up here. It did it there. It's doing it here, right? And if you look further up, it did it across here as well. I got in the trade there. I was in drawdown. It came back down profit. It came back. I was in profit. Came back. I was at break even. Then it dropped off and dropped off and dropped off, right? So at this point, I got in the trade there. I could have got into, and because this was really early, this was back on 18th of July. So we're talking a month ago, or over a month ago, just over a month ago when I started. So there's four weeks at least, 4 trading weeks, right? 4, nearly 5, right? And at this point, I saw a turn, it came back and it consolidated. I just got in at that trade with that knowledge. Now, I didn't get into another trade there. I didn't get into another one there or there or there or there. I started getting into additional trades down here. I'm not saying that that's what you should do or could do. It's just that I was not, to be perfectly honest, I was not trusting what this was doing or how this potentially would play out, right? And there are other trades which I've lost, not on AUD USD because I haven't. But if you look at these consolidations, all they're doing is they're trying to suck people in to think it's going one way or the other. All right. I already committed to sells on this. If it doesn't, it comes back to buys. Well, that's what it does. Yet, Aussie dollar is weak, US dollar is stronger. It's like, what news is going to occur, which there's you could have a news event which I am not aware of, which in actual fact will change the direction of this, right? The thing about it is I can't see any real big news event at the moment that's going to start knocking out this stop loss to start with, but it could. What do we got here? What's this news? You know, durable goods order month on month. No, maybe not. Like Powell's speech, like, yeah, big deal, right? And maybe about interest rates. You might get a jump, but I'm just looking at this to continue down. And then if you look back at the daily, there is a low price down here. Back in 22, this was 61.7, and it could go lower. All right. So one of the things I look at is you'll never get the Aussie dollar going less than 50 cents US, and you'll never get the Aussie dollar going more than $1.10 US. That's the range it lives in, right? It's as simple as that. If you look back lots of time, you go to the weekly, whatever, that's basically where it lives in, right? It loves around that 70 to 60 range, and that's where it is at the moment, right? And down here, this is down the bottom end of the 60s, like 61. As I said, back in 22, I think this was like, you know, COVID-y stuff, if I remember. This is where it sort of turned and came back up. That was probably, no, 22, where we got, I think that was COVID over here somewhere. Yeah, Feb 21, no, here we go. March 20, COVID, look at it. Aussie dollar went like that, and then it just pulled back down again, then pull back up. It did break that high, but really matched it out, and then basically has kept dropping down. I can see it breaking, to be honest, Jay, I can see it breaking this bottom here. But that's me. Over time, we're talking weeks, if not months.
Yeah. Well, I'm trading the same way you are. I have 18 trades open as well, so.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm not saying for people to do that. All I'm saying is you have to have a number of trades. And again, as I said, back here on the 3 hour, oh, that's not it there. Back on the 3 hour, I wasn't up here. I wasn't taking additional stacking trades or basket trades or whatever you want to call it. I wasn't taking them until I sort of got really confident in what was happening. It's like, hey, yeah, that came back. It didn't come back up and break. I was still in, didn't go to my stop loss. Great. It came back down. I'm well in profit. It's like, oh, hang on a minute. And then it dropped. It's like, oh, I should have taken a trade there. You know, then it did this. And I went, oh, I should have taken a trade. It's like, then you start getting down here going like, yeah, now what am I doing? Why didn't I take other trades? You know? But that's all retrospect stuff. So at the moment, it's like, that's just where it is. So all these AUDs, I'm in AUD CAD, CHF, and AUD USD, all in cells. And I'm in multiples on each one because that's where I think it is. And yes, I'm cautious, right? I have stop losses in place on all of them, and they're just 0.01s. And I'm still up, you know, 28% on the account. As I said, I was up 35% because I took additional trades. I've now got drawdown on those ones, which brings my overall profit back. If I close it all, I'd be up 28% over four and a bit weeks. Like, who's got a problem with that?
Right.
I could close all the trades and walk away with 28%. Like, but you've got to have a number of trades to be able to do that, right? Anyway, yes, I'm cautious at this point, and yes, it could turn, but yes, it could keep pushing down, which is more likely to what I feel it might do. That's all forecasting. This CAD J, hey, Darren, what a pain in the bum this one is, eh? Remember your EJ? I'm sure EJ has turned. Hang on, where is it?
Yeah.
EJ's gone back up to way past where you had it. If you had your stop loss a bit lower, you would probably be back in profit by now.
Yeah, when the stop loss was too tight, I should have gone two pullbacks back, and I didn't on that one. I thought,
yeah,
that seems.
And that's just a lesson learned, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the dailies on here, it's still going up.
Yeah.
All right. They want to continue that trend, and that's what they're doing. All right. So I was all right on EJ. I was in profit, but hey, it's pulled back up here. It's like, bugger. Anyway, what I might do is if it comes back down to here, I might just get out of this because I still want to get into a buy on it. It's still in that buy on it. But Jay, can you see this? This is probably what, like what you're talking about here. Hang on a minute. We'll just, from a smart money perspective, you go like, oh, look at that. Oh, this is going to now start. But it hasn't.
Right.
You got a W in there, and then it's just doing this craziness, but it's still on the way up. It hasn't broken down past that, all that. So it's more inclined to push up and break the high up here, break that high, and then maybe break that. But it's like, and CAD is a lot stronger than Japanese yen. Yeah. The Japanese yen's on the ropes, just like AUD and NZD is. Yeah.
I'm just over trying to catch the tops and bottoms. I've spent years.
I know. Me too. It's like
it's showing me what it's doing. Why am I arguing with it?
Yeah. And also too, because we've done that for years, Jay, like think to yourself, how many times has it actually broken and continued? And you go, no, it's got to turn. No, it's got to turn. Oh, because of, it's got to turn. It doesn't. It just keeps going.
Yep.
So whether that's buy or sell, doesn't really matter. So, and yes, it will turn at some point. Yes, you have a swing low and then it changes. And yes, you have a swing high and yes, it changes. And yes, at some point it will change and create a swing high or low. It's just not at that point yet. Yeah.
We'll take a loss then, but you could be so much more in profit if you just rode that whole trend until then.
Correct. Yeah. Well, you keep going profit. If it comes back and knocks you out, so what? You lose one or two trades, but look at all the other ones you're in profit. Like it's ridiculous. But also too, look at this. If you look, well, can I do elliptical? I'm doing a ellipse. Here you go. If you just look there and look at that, whoop, see that pattern there?
Yeah.
Right? And then if we just grab this and look at this pattern, can you see that push up there, pull back, push back up, and then drop off? Like, look at this pattern, push up, it does the pullback, right? And then it does this sort of up, then consolidate a bit. It may be ready for a push down, but like, who cares? Like, that's what I was in the sell on CAD-J for, right? But I can't see the CAD weakening against the Japanese yen at this point.
Yeah.
So
this looks the same, basically.
correct. Exactly. But it's all about patterns for me. It is anyway, and seeing, this is what you see. But like, you can look at a pattern and go, oh no, it's going to do this, and you can use it as a psychological convincing. But I'm just following the trend. It's as simple as that.
I like that quite a bit.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway. So we'll just see what happens here. I'm still going to just stay in the sell. I've got, stop loss up, and who cares, whatever. If it does go up, then that's great. I'm not really worried. And I think I said here, I did play around with, on the 3 hour with CAD-J. I got a trade there. Nice trade. I got a trade there I got out of the sell into the buy. Then I got out of the buy into the sell. This one I lost. I didn't get out of the sell, and it came back and hit my stop loss. So I lost on that trade with this. And then I got into this trade and got, and I got pips out of that one. but this one I hadn't got into, and then it's done sideways. So there's been, 1, 2, 3 wins and 1 loss out of CAD-J. And this was when I was just trying to learn the strategy as such. See how this CAD-J is a lot choppier, where if you go AUD USD, see how that's a lot more like continuing trending. Yeah, you could, it's still sell and you still have additionals, where if I go back to CAD-J, like you're getting out of it, into it, out of it, into it, out of it, into it, out of it, that sort of thing. So different pairs have this sort of, that's a long run there for CAD-J, really. These are more typically what it is. And where the other one I'll get, like, well, this is not typical at the moment, but probably not a good way of explaining. But if you look at it over here, GA is also quite choppy, but because the Aussie dollar is really, because the Aussie dollar is quite weak, you can see that the British pound has strengthened. But at the moment, you've got this sideways movement. What's it going to do? Potentially going to buy. And I think, Darren, you're already in trades for this, aren't you?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and wherever you got in. So, look, it broke out of this channel and up it went. And it's still, if you go to the daily, that's where it's at. Right, look how it's been going up and up and up for a considerable amount of time. We're talking start of this year. It really hasn't come back. It just keeps going. So you'll get these consolidations, but potentially apply. Now, this could create a swing high and start pulling down. But is the Japanese yen stronger? Sorry, is the British pound stronger overall than what the Aussie dollar is? Yes. Has it continued to do that? Yes. Is there potential news that's going to change that? Probably not. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway. So typically with this strategy on the 3-hour, if you get in a trade, you'll probably and most likely get some pullback. It's difficult to, like, for example, GBP CHF I got in. This is difficult for me, particularly where I live in the world, to counter some of these pullbacks, right? You just have to pack out the stop loss a bit until it finishes doing this funny business and then continues on. That's all there is about it. And if it does come back to your stop loss, well, it's only a small one. And so what you want is you want a flagship trade. Look, I haven't got into this pair at all yet. This is my first trade on this strategy. And so this is my flagship. So I pack right out my stop loss, right? And once it pulls up and then does a pullback, that's where I'm going to get in for a second one with a much tighter stop loss, right? And then again and again. And as it moves up, the flagship trade will have its stop loss trailing back up as well. Ready for if it's going to do a swing high and then start pulling back down. But I think you're probably going to know because there's going to be news around it, and other currency pairs like other GBPs are going to start weakening off. It all sort of is there waiting for you. Okay. Did you want me to look at any other pairs or anything else at the moment? Or just...
You can have a quick whiz through them, Brian, if you...
Yeah, sure. Lovely. AUD CAD, we'll go... I always like to have the daily on. We're still in a sell, even though this is going sideways. I'm looking at to sell. AUD CHF, same thing, to sell, which it did, right? And pull down and break this low. We'll see what happens. JPY, as I said, I'm keeping away from it at the moment. ADNZD, I don't tend to trade because it's choppy. Singapore, depends. We could get into a sell on that. It is still selling, right? But I'm not in. AUD USD, I'm looking at that come out. If it pushes back up and then back out, this is in a This is in a bit of a rectangle at the moment, if you see, right? I want to see whether it breaks out up or down. I could make that slightly larger, but anyway, we'll just keep it around that sort of level. I suspect or project that this will continue down. But, you know, you don't want to get into a trade right at the moment. CAD CHF, you look at CAD stronger against the Swiss franc at the minute, but that'll do a pullback, right? And then potentially I'd want it to break down, pull back up again. Like, can you see where that wick is over here? Just from a market structure perspective. Yeah. KJ, I don't know, I'm just in this for a sell, but, you know, like, hey, you can see where it's pulled back now. But the how do I put it? The promising part of KJ here and me being in a sell, which is crazy because it's against the overall trend, but anyway, it's just me. This push up here has not broken either of these highs, right? It's matching up this, but hasn't broken the high over here. So potentially it'll go into sell. If it doesn't, well, that's just the way it is, right? CHF JPY, I like this pair. This is like been pushing up and up and up and up and up. This is, you know, look at this. The pull down, that would have been great. Look at that. Yeah, end of the trading week, start of the trading week. I didn't even see this one yesterday. This would have been a bloody perfect. London Open, New York continued, right? It's going to break the high here, push up higher even, maybe today, and then do a pullback and then go in. So maybe if I can see the pullback, I might get into that one. Euro AUD, only take buys. Euro CAD, that's a little sideways. It's a bit like CAD-J. Maybe I would only take buys on that. Euro CHF. Now, this is different, right? This one I keep away from at this point, just purely because they're both so close to each other. The Euro CHF is, right? Euro GBP is also a bit choppy. Not going to go near it at the moment. Euro JPY, that's an interesting push up. And if you look at it, it has broken that high there. So this may continue further, unfortunately for you, Darren. But maybe you might want to wait for a pullback and then get into the buy. Yeah. This was just the end of the week, right? So there's like 2 or 3 days it was pushing down. Unfortunately, stopped you out there. But look what it did in the last 24 hours. Yeah. Took all of that back again. Euro NZD, NZD's weak, Euro strong, only buys. Euro Singapore, that's a little sideways. It is still buy though. Wait for a pullback if you want to get into a buy on that one. Now, I'm only cautious because here, if you see, it hasn't broken the previous high. So this could be a swing high back down. It will need to break that high and then pull back. So that's what I'll be waiting for there. Euro USD, Euro stronger than, USD, Euro stronger than USD, but you're going to have all these choppy pullbacks. This is a choppy one as well. I think this will continue sell. GA, again, going sideways, so I think we'll push back up further. GCAD, that was a nice push up. And we're going to have a pullback and then continue up. It's been on this uptrend for a considerable amount of time. And this is like, if you look at it from a daily, there are some other peaks up here. But, you know, hey, you can't get that smart money out of you, can you, Jay? You go like, cautious. So just see. As I said, I'm in GBP CHF for a buy on this one. GBP JPY, again, this is buy. That would have been great to get into yesterday. You would need to wait for a pullback before you get into the buy on that. GN, same thing. There's a pullback occurring now. Yeah. There's a pullback occurring now before getting GBP Singapore as well. I'm in this one, you know, and When did you Singapore? Or did it come back? I don't know. Where is it? Yeah, I think I just marked that, maybe. I'm in GBP USD. I'm in that for that one actually for a sell. So it's actually pulled back up on me. But overall, I'm looking at this now as a change and a pullback here. Right, so price is down here. I'm looking at this to sell out. Or the British pound to be weaker than the US anyway. And all the NZDs like sell. They're not hard to see. NJ won't finish pullback, but this is also it's actually more a buy, but you could get into a short sell if you want. NU is absolutely a sell, just like AUD USD is, right? Singapore Japanese yen is a buy, and wait for a pullback for that if you want. UCAD, that's normally pretty choppy, right? Am I in the UK? Yes, I'm in the UK, right? So I got in here. It did pull back, but it's on the way up. You can see it over here. This is really quite a strong, on the daily, strong push up. So I'm going to buy on that. USD CHF, this one for a buy, but it's done a pullback on me, and that's okay. UJ, again, the Japanese yen at the end of last week strengthened, but then US dollar took over and it's back up here. So after a pullback into a buy on this one as well, maybe wait for London open. And then USD Singapore, same, to buy, but it could have reached a high because it hasn't broken. So this could be a high on it, but I don't tend to trade that. And then gold is still plummeting down. It has done in the last 24 hours, sort of a bit of a push around, push up, down, up, So this could be a swing low, but I doubt it because gold weakens off against US dollar strength. And I haven't seen any reason why the US dollar will be weak as such. This is just a profit pullback before. It hasn't broken those highs there. See that? So if it does break there, then maybe we've got a swing low and it's moving back up. That means the US dollars will weaken off. I can't particularly see that just at the moment. There you go. And Bitcoin's still, after its big plummet last week, it's still sitting around the 26. There you go. That's it for you. That's your dose for today.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So what, Jay, you're in 18 trades as well.
Yeah.
You're going gangbusters, mate.
I got in a bunch premature or late, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I was trying to commit to the trend and just say, all right, I'm trusting that the trend is going up. I'm getting in. I'll get in now.
There will be a point at which, Jay, the trend will change and then we'll know about it, but then we can jump in for it to go the other way. Like, that's just the way this works.
Yeah.
No worries. Any other questions, Darren?
Oh, not from me.
No, good. Lovely. Yeah, maybe not as tight on your flagship trades for EJ.
Yeah, correct.
No worries. Oh, that's just lessons, isn't it? Any questions, Paul? He's scrambling to find his mic. That's all right. Could have gone for a cuppa or something. You right, John?
I am very well. I appreciate your time, Brian.
No, pleasure, mate. Yeah. Well, I'm just really sharing my thoughts that I'd be sitting here doing myself anyway. So, so they're sort of free thoughts at this point. All right, then. Hopefully we'll see maybe some of you tomorrow. Take it easy, same time. Oh, Paul, you right? Did you want to comment?
Oh, fine, Brian. I missed a bit then, but I'll catch that up on the recording.
Yeah, no worries at all. That's all right. All right. Well, you have a great
I'll be here tomorrow.
evening or whatever, and I'll get into my day.